2026 5th and 6th round pick. Then earlier, the Jags signed former Missouri and Rams practice squad running back Cody Schrader for more running back room depth. It's 77 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Tom McManus has today off, but he will join us by phone once again in the 3 o'clock hour today, and then he'll be back with us tomorrow. But Taylor, of course, the big news. We found out last night the Jaguars were moving on from Tank Bigsby, Cartavius Bigsby, out of the University of Auburn, trading him to the Philadelphia Eagles. James Gladstone's second trade with the Philly Eagles, considering he moved Fred Johnson and got draft picks for him. And now Tank Bigsby, and it's a 5th and a 6th round pick. Potentially, though, the 5th could be a 4th rounder if Bryce Huff gets 8 sacks. So all Jaguars fans are now big Bryce Huff fans for, of course, this next year's draft. I had really conflicted emotions when I found out. I literally said holy bleep out loud to Brian, because I just didn't expect this, because I thought that they liked all 4 backs and the different skill sets that they had. And also, if one of your backs gets injured, you now don't have the same style of back there and waiting in the wings. But at the same time, Tank Bigsby had that really cryptic tweet back, last month, like mid-training camp. Yeah. And so maybe they just didn't vibe at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't know if I was like, I'd still said, whoa. Like, I mean, anytime I feel like you trade one of the guys who a lot of people back in OTAs thought Tank would be RB1 here. And so,
he was listed as the potential starter on the depth chart last week. It's Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby.
So I think that always has a little bit of a shock factor in it. But I've kind of been on the train that all 4 backs were not going to be on this team by the end of the year. I didn't know what that meant, and I leaned in the beginning towards it being Etienne, just because I feel like what OTAs in the beginning of camp looked like, it did look like Tank was their guy. That started shifting.
Proven too.
Yeah. And after last year and what you saw from Tank, and everyone kind of felt like that was the beginning of it. And so. But I always had this feeling that some sort of trade, something was going to happen where one of those, whether it was Etienne or Tank, weren't on the team by the end of the season. I didn't think this early. I always was like more of a trade deadline thing when teams are really scrambling and looking and maybe some injuries come in and things like that. I thought it would be more of that situation. But yeah, to your point, I mean, I think that that tweet had a lot of people questioning a lot of things, and people kind of thought it was about comments people made on air in this building. Some people thought it was, is he mad that he didn't win that starting job? I heard Loggeman talking about, him kind of leaving the field in a manner that maybe he didn't love after the win. And is that because he wasn't happy he didn't get the ball as much as he wanted to? And does that not fit with the type of culture that James Gladstone and Liam Cohen built here? It's a team thing, not an I thing. And if they got those type of vibes from Tank, then I could definitely see that being a piece. And this is me just taking context clues of things that have happened. I don't know officially.
Tank himself, by the way, retweeted someone who posted over the weekend and said, "Where the bleep is Tank Bigsby?"
Yeah.
I'll say heck, but that's not the word.
Yeah.
And he literally reposted that post. And so now looking back, it's like, well, was he sending us signals along the way of like, yeah, I'm not meant for long here? It's just interesting that the Eagles would give up a 5th and 6th for a returner.
Yeah. Because
that's the plan. I read one of the Eagles reporters said this has nothing to do with Will Shipley's injury, that they fully believe in their running back room and he's going to be the return guy. But you do wonder if something were to happen to Saquon, would they at least give Tank Bigsby a look? He did have over 700 yards and 7 touchdowns for the Jags last season with a terrible offensive line. Maybe with a good offensive line, he could do better. More. But again, that would only be if something happened to Barkley.
Yeah, I think Tank is a good fit in Philly personally, and we'll see how things shake out throughout the season. But I do think that the type of things Tank does fits that offensive scheme very well. And so right now, maybe it looks like that. But to your point, you're one injury away from being at least a piece of what that offense is. And I think Philly, I don't know how worried they are about 5th and 6th round picks, to be honest with you. We've talked about it a ton. They have the best, if not one of the best rosters in the NFL. So I'm not sure how much they care about their 5th and 6th at this point.
They have a great GM in Howie Roseman.
Yeah, they've just done a really good job in the draft especially, but even free agency when they've need to fill in things there. This last free agency, everyone, and it's early. There's still some question marks, and we'll see what the whole season looks like. But they lost a lot of secondary pieces, and it felt like they were just able to kind of recoup it, and there was nothing there. It felt like, okay, there wasn't this big panic of, oh no, what are we going to do after we lost 2-3 pieces in our secondary. It was just kind of like, okay, like we roll on. That's what we do. That we've been able to build this roster well enough to where we're not stressing about late round picks. If you hit on one, great. That's fantastic. You always want to have those guys where at the end of the day, you're like, we drafted so well, and you hit on a 5th or 6th round receiver or running back or whatever it may be. But if you're also a roster that feels like they're built well and has a lot of depth, then that's not as big as of a concern for you. What you're looking at is what you feel maybe is an area of concern, and maybe the return game for them is that at this point.
And here, it certainly gives a nod of confidence, and you would have expected that, to the rookies that they drafted. This regime has already shown us through multiple moves that if you're their guy, then certainly they're going to give you a better opportunity than they're going to give someone else, or a bigger opportunity. And that means they drafted Bashal Tutin and LaQuint Allen with I think the mindset that they're going to contribute a lot this season. Yeah. And so why hold on to 4 running backs? Having 4 active each week certainly doesn't make sense for most rosters. No. Some places don't even think that 3 running backs is worthwhile at this point in time. But I guess for me, I always really liked Tank Bigsby's vision, the way his speed in hitting the hole, and everything that ETN was lacking last year. Now, granted, he suffered through a hamstring injury and played through it, so he wasn't 100%. But the things that he wasn't doing well last year, I felt like Tank Bigsby was. But I haven't seen enough from Bashal Tutin yet, even through training camp, because he also had a hamstring injury, to be like, all right, I understand why they can replace this. Yeah, but I have to trust the powers that be. I think you said that yesterday. I'm going to trust them until they give me a reason not to. And at this point in time, a lot of the moves that they've made through free agency and the draft have looked really good. Travis Hunter probably still pending because he didn't get a ton of defensive snaps on Sunday. But a lot of those free agent moves especially have worked. So I'm going to say, well, if you believe certainly in Bashal Tutin being RB2, then by all means. And LaQuint Allen, we've already seen, I think, enough from him to see he is going to be their 3rd down back in 2025. Yeah, and I think Bashal can do similar things to Tank too. And you talk about, we talked so much about the 4 backs because we're like, they can do a little bit of different things, but we also had the conversation of what if Tutin and Tank are the same type of back? What if Tutin becomes that or can become that? Then what do you do? Because you don't want 2 identical backs on the guys doing the same thing. That's just wasting a roster spot at that point, honestly, when you have 4 backs and 2 of them you're using in the same way or whatever the case may be. But if Tutin had another hamstring injury, then you don't have that type of running back. And I guess that's where I just keep going back to. But I understand. But other teams, I think most teams aren't having 4. A lot of teams don't even have 3 that are on their active day, like everyday roster anyway. So I think Quinton Jackson's still in the practice squad, and then the Jaguars acquired Cody Schrader, who I remember at Missouri was a really good running back. He'll be on the practice squad. So there's other options. Yeah. And I think it just for them, you talk about, and we were talking about this week, of why the roster looked a certain way or why certain people aren't going to be active, what that looks like. And so I think that when you have 4 backs, that does probably limit other areas where maybe you do feel like you need to get that other person out there. So why not go get some sort of pick out of a guy who, when you're probably not going to have one of them active on game day moving forward. And now the Jaguars have 13 picks for 2026. Yeah. And so obviously we know the first pick being in round 2. And they may want to get up to round 1. Of course, us as Sports Talk Radio people absolutely want the Jaguars to get up to round 1. Yeah, I don't want to pick 13 people. Right. And definitely not, which this team has done before. Yes. And I'm sure they'll... Not very long ago. Not that long ago, right. I do think, though, that obviously this gives them options. And James Gladstone, I'm going to call him a wheeler and a dealer at this point in time. Anything that he thinks is going to bring value to this team moving forward, that's what he's going to do. And not saying that they're not trying to win right now. Of course they are. But the Eagles are in a situation where they just won the Super Bowl and they expect to win the Super Bowl again. I don't think the Jaguars necessarily are there yet. Yeah. But I do think that they are trying to get, obviously, there in a shorter amount of time and not take a long-term, let's completely rebuild this roster view. Yeah. They knew they needed to rebuild a lot of the roster, but they also, I think, are expecting to go over 500 in year 1 with Liam Cohen. Yeah, and I think that's
the job of a really good general manager is that balance of saying, yeah, you can win football games and you can be competitive right now, but also build for the future. And that's been the problem with the general managers here previously. And that's why you have the one-off seasons like 2017 and 2022, because you're so focused on, okay, if we add these 4 or 5 pieces, we'll win this year. But then what? What else? When you have significant dead cap and when you have no first, second, third round picks, or when you're counting on your late draft picks to be good because your roster is so bad that you have to hit on those to even fill spots on a roster. And so I think those things hurt you down the stretch. So do you want to win this year and have fun for one season and then go through this all over again? Or do you want to have a 500, maybe a little better season and build for the future where you're like, okay, this is a team that you're building for the next decade plus? And I think that James Gladstone has that mindset, because even we've talked to the comparable like of what he's learned over with the Rams. Mm-hmm. The Rams were F them picks, and we joke about that all the time, but the Rams also made very strategic moves because of that. So yeah, they gave away some picks, but they felt like they were doing things for their future, and it's worked out. It wasn't just like Matthew Stafford having one Super Bowl year because they built everything around him. They're still a good football team, and I think that that's the type of things you have to work towards as a general manager. And it's not always easy. It's difficult to do that. But the Phillies perfected something like that. I think that we are in a world now where the Ravens and the Bills and the Chiefs and there's a group of teams that have all done that. And that's why these teams have consistently been winning the last few years. And I don't think that's ending.
Yeah, the one positive too that I'll say is obviously him being around Les Snead and doing all that, but also him being around James Gladstone, being around Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it when the list came out as far as the defensive coaches in the league giving out who they thought was their rankings, who they thought were the best play callers. Obviously, Sean McVay is one of those people. We'll talk about Kevin O'Connell and what happened last night a little bit today, too. Liam Cohen was in the top 10. Yeah. And after Sunday, I wonder if he should even be a little bit higher. But that's one thing, too. You get a really good play caller, and that changes what you need offensively. You don't necessarily have to have the elite of the elite talent because you're scheming guys so incredibly wide open. All right, Dwan Smoot and Robert Hainsey met with the media yesterday. We will let you hear from those two gentlemen on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Every Friday in the fall is Pregame Friday.
Is this what I think it is? Yes, it is.
We'll get you ready for the games. Who's in, who's out.
This is what I'm talking about.
Built by Dream Finders Homes. Homes built to fit your lifestyle on 1010XL.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, October 3rd through 5th at Timuquana Country Club. Catch the new community concert series on the 17th hole after play, featuring country artists Low Cash and Love and Theft. Public parking is free with complimentary tournament access for military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get tickets now for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, starting at just $25 at Ticketmaster.
Hey guys, Taylor Doll here of Helmets and Heels. It's a sauce kind of football season with Chick-fil-A chicken strips. Each crispy, juicy bite only gets better when you choose your favorite sauces to dip into and create your own flavor combinations. Will it be sriracha and ranch, honey and buffalo, barbecue, and Chick-fil-A sauce with 21 different sauce pairings possible? It's easy to go on a flavor adventure. Order in a 4-count, 10-count, or in a catering tray. Get an order started today in the Chick-fil-A app and dip on into football season.
Helmets and Heels.
Backed by Green Law Group.
For the insured.
Fighting for you.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnick. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnickBuickGMC.com today to learn more, or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
When you need plumbing, septic, or air conditioning service, trust matters. That's why more homeowners in Jacksonville choose Duck Duck Rooter. From small plumbing repairs to major renovations, we do it all. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the first coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff and Art and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out, Garage Door 911, garagedoor911.com.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
After an accident, you may have an x-ray that looks normal, but you're still in pain. That's because soft tissue injuries like sprains and tears don't show up on x-rays. And if an insurance company doesn't see it, they may not believe you're hurt.
When they don't take your pain seriously, we fight back. We know doctors who are experts in diagnosing soft tissue injuries. They can help us prove that your pain is real, and we'll seek to get you paid for all of your future medical expenses.
Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus will join us in the next segment as he's making his way back to Jacksonville, FLA from up there in Boston for the charity golf tournament. Let's hear first from Dwan Smoot, Taylor. And this was one of my favorite moments at the stadium on Sunday. As soon as Smoot gets the sack, even though he hasn't been here for a little bit, the crowd knew exactly what to do. And for people maybe who are Panthers fans that were there, which I didn't see a ton of them, or maybe brand new Jaguars fans, maybe they didn't quite understand why it sounded like the stadium was booing.
Yeah.
But immediately you could tell the Jags fans that have been here a minute, Smoot.
Yeah.
Like, it was fantastic. And
I
it's
love
great
it.
that he got
and people
the
love
sack.
Smoot. It's just like, it's such a, I think that when they re-signed Smoot this year, and we talked about it a lot of how much the pass rush, what other guys were going to be able to get sacks, how many were you expecting of each of these people, of each of the different pass rushers or even interior guys that are going to be able to do that. And so Smoot is somebody that I think automatically, healthy Smoot, adds something right away. And we had that conversation the day he was re-signed there. And even if it's not a direct sack number, the things that Smoot can do are going to make your team better when he's out on the field. And so I do think that you already love that, but he's also just such a fun person anyways, and you love the personality of Smoot. And then that's fun. You have the little chant that everybody knows, and that's, I think it's just, it adds something. And so I'm sure that makes him feel loved too. And I feel like you're gone, you come back, and people immediately are just embracing you like, oh yeah, Smoot's back, and we're glad. And you get to hear us in the stadium right away.
I feel like this is a guy that feels like Duval,
Yeah.
right? Like he feels like a Jaguar. It doesn't seem like really he's even been gone.
Yeah.
And it's probably another negative on the previous regime that they did move on from him at any point in time, because this is a guy that always contributes, like you said, when he's healthy. All right, so here's Dwan Smoot yesterday, a meeting with the media. He was asked about his emotions during his first game back.
Emotions were high. I was nervous being back. But, I mean, when I was able to make those couple plays, I made the first play and I heard that Smoot, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm home. And then after that, the next play came, I was like, I got to, hype him up, let him know I hear him as well, too. It was just so great. And I just thank Duval for embracing me with open arms.
Of course they were going to after just, the one season with Buffalo. But I also feel like, and both Dwan and Josh Hainsey have talked about this, how they can play off of each other so well because they know each other so well. And we talked about this yesterday. I was surprised by how many rotations were happening with the defense. But because of the heat, the humidity, I did wonder if that was just a really smart plan by Coach Anthony Campanile.
Yeah, I think so. And I know the broadcast, Frank said that a few times. It's hot out there. You can tell some of these guys need to get some you want to keep them fresh. And you didn't want to get to the point where if it was a closer game, it wasn't. But if it was a closer game, that your guys are getting worn out by the end. And that's one of the things that they really did when it comes to Gladstone and this regime. What they really wanted to focus on this offseason is having that depth. And we talked about that a lot. Of last year, if one person got hurt, you just felt like the wheels would fall off because they didn't have that depth that you could count on. And that's talking about the defensive line, and all of it was messy, and we know that. But you do feel more confident in the depth pieces here and having guys that have played together also and can communicate, but also guys who have been on successful places, maybe not here, but in other stops, and what they can bring here. But I think the comfortability is a big thing, and that's why week one in college football and the NFL is always kind of a little wild, because there are still, if you have a lot of new pieces, those things have to start to click. If there's new coaches, they are still learning things. There's a lot of moving pieces to week one, and I think that's why it's hard. You're never going to say, okay, this is what the NFL is going to. This is the record. I'm going to say this is what it's going to be because of how somebody played week one. I think it's just too hard to do that because of that. But having the familiarity between two guys like that, and I think is very beneficial. And then I think that when you talk about having the leaders, which I do feel like you have more of those leadership type guys on the defense now too, that's going to be massive because it just felt lacking last year in that area too.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know who the vocal leader is of the defensive line, whether it is Eric Armstead, who joins us on Fridays because he's, certainly a senior in this league, a longtime veteran now, or if it is a guy like Josh Hainsey because he's been here the whole time, or if it is a guy like Smoot who has been here a long time, was gone for a season and then back. I don't know who that person is, but they have options. To your point, I don't know that that's been necessarily there before. And certainly Foye Oluokun, we know he's the captain of that linebacking core and probably of the defense in general, as far as because he's moving everyone around and telling them what to do. And then I think Jordan Lewis is the captain of that secondary. But there are other guys now too. Tyson Campbell has been here a long time. He has a second contract. Eric Murray now is a veteran coming in. I don't know, to your point, that they had that last year. And I think what's interesting to me is going to be Dennis Gardeck, too. I don't know. He obviously won the Sam linebacker job. That's where he started on Sunday. He beat out Yasir Abdullah for that spot. And I assume we'll continue to see a rotation of Devin Lloyd and Ventrell Miller opposite Foye and opposite Dennis Gardeck. But I wonder how Dennis Gardeck is going to be deployed as far as the sack number is concerned. Like, we know Dwan Smoot's going to get probably 5 or 6 sacks, right? Like, we just expect that if he stays healthy. Gardeck is one I can't quite put my finger on it exactly what he'll end up with. But all right, back to because
it also he's not if he's just strictly Sam, you're not seeing him as much
He's
either.
not on the field as often.
But I feel like game to game that'll look different, and if depending, they're not scared to rotate, and that's the good thing. I feel like there's going to be games where we'll probably see a lot of those guys have way higher snap counts than they did this last week, and then other weeks where Coach Camp is like, I'm going to mix these guys up and I'm going to send all different types of guys.
Sure, like he moved Dewey Wingard around on the field on Sunday. So yeah, it is going to be interesting. All right, Dwan Smoot was here in 2017. Does he see similarities between this team and that team?
I mean, I would say it for sure. I mean, just the consistency and how we're showing up each and every day. I mean, just guys are they're ready to be here. They're happy to be here. The energy as well with the coaching staff there. Everybody's just ready to, come together every day and just win, man. Just a winning mentality. So I definitely see some likeness from that for sure.
Yeah, because Dwan Smoot was here, Taylor, in 2017, that also means he was here in 2018.
Yeah.
2019, 2020, 2021. Like, those were all atrocious years for the franchise. And then, obviously, here in 2022, the one successful season. 2023, a portion of it was successful. And then last year with the Bills.
Buffalo.
And the Bills, obviously, one of the teams that is in the mix to win the AFC championship every year.
Yeah, I remember if you go back to 2017, and this is where it's hard, and this is when you talk about those conversations of building for now, having that kind of temporary success and build compared to for longevity, because that team imploded. So I hope this team honestly isn't like 2017 because the moment things started to not go the way that you wanted them to, you were seeing players not get along. You were seeing locker room fights. You were seeing them not want to talk on the field. You were seeing a lot of messy stuff. So the one thing I will say about James Gladstone is I feel like he's somebody who will shut that down, and Liam Cohen will shut that stuff down very quickly. And it kind of spiraled out of control because 2017 was so fun that you're on this high and you're like, okay, let's just like keep rolling and we're good. And then when it didn't happen like that the next year, nobody knew how to act. And I hope you don't have that. Like, I hope you have personalities. And that's why I talk about having multiple leaders, not just on the field, but off the field, because you need those guys in the locker room to kind of, if you're not going to win every football game this year, there's going to be moments where we're probably going to be talking about some of the negative things of things that need to be fixed or what went wrong here. Even the best teams in the NFL, you're still having conversations sometimes about that. The Bengals are having that conversation right now.
The Ravens are having the conversation.
Yeah. And so it happens. And how do they handle that? Because former teams here have not handled that very well. So I do hope that's something that's different than 2017.
Yeah, I do think Liam
18,
Cohen,
I guess.
Yeah, 2018 when it collapsed. I do think Liam Cohen has a really good pulse of his team. And I'm not sure that the other coaches that we're talking about, whether it's Doug Marrone or since then Doug Peterson, necessarily had as good of a pulse of the team and the goings on in the locker room. All right, speaking of vocal leaders on the offensive side of the ball, center Robert Hainsey came here from certainly Tampa, knew Liam Cohen's offense was expected to be able to help Trevor Lawrence. How does Robert Hainsey think the offensive line did in the first game together?
Yeah, we're super proud of it. Being the first time we got to play a full game together as a line with all the different pieces we've added and how we've grown. And, you know, I think in our heads, in our communication leading up to the game, we were kind of curious on how things were going to go or how each other were going to play. Because you have to feel that out, not just in camp and joint practice and preseason game, but in real game situations. So I think we answered a lot of questions as a group on how, as individuals, we do things and how that fits together as a unit.
Yeah, that might have been probably one of the bigger surprising things, pleasantly surprising things out of the game on Sunday is that offensive line, the running backs in totality rushed, including Trevor, rushed for 200 yards.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow any sacks. Like, even if I just told you that ETN was going to get 143 yards and nobody else was even going to add to that total, you'd be impressed.
Yeah.
But to have 200 yards total as an offense and rushing, and to also have no sacks on Trevor, really only, like, he got touched one time. For an offensive line that we questioned all offseason, all training camp, because they were constantly moving guys in and out, and we thought there were competitions at certain positions, and we expected maybe Wyatt Milam, or at least I expected Wyatt Milam to win that left guard job once they drafted him. And in the end, the five guys that ended up starting played an excellent game. Now, is that going to translate every single week? Of course not. It's not always going to be that stat line or those stat lines. But I was so impressed by the offensive line.
Yeah, I think I've kind of been expecting this run game to rule the world here. And that's just, I feel like that's a Liam Cohen thing we saw. And it wasn't like he says, here, we are going to run the ball. This is going to be our identity. But he's so good at scheming it and making it happen. And when the pass maybe isn't working the way you want, he's able to lean into that. And so I've been expecting the run game to be greatly improved from last year, because last year there was just no meaning to the way they ran the ball. It was, you would use the wrong people at the wrong time. ETN was in when he shouldn't. You weren't getting him out on the perimeter ever. There was just so many messy things about it. And I do think that Liam Cohen, everything he does is more, it has meaning and depth behind every choice that he's making offensive when he's calling these plays. And that's what makes him so good at doing that type of thing. The offensive line, I want to see more. I think this is one of the lesser off defensive fronts in general that you'll see, and you have a lot bigger test coming up when you're talking about the Hendricksons and the Bosas and the Will Andersons and those guys. do it against them, and I'll start to be a little more impressed than maybe I feel right now. I'll always credit if you're not touching the quarterback. That's a positive thing. But I don't know if after that game I'm walking away and being like, the O-line's fixed. I don't know if I'm personally there yet. But if you did that the next couple weeks against some of these guys, some of these teams that do have really good pass rushers, and that is kind of more of what they do, that's not what the Panthers do, then I'll start saying, okay, we give I've got to get some credit to something that I was concerned about, because there were a lot of ups and downs. I didn't think they addressed it the right way in the offseason. So, but I also said the whole time, I hope I'm wrong, because I really do think that when Trevor, and we've seen it, when Trevor has a line in front of him that is functional and can block and you can run the ball, Trevor can do a lot of really, really good things and be one of the better quarterbacks in the league when those things are going right.
Tom McManus joins us on the other side, including his takeaways. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels, provided by Green Law Group.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I've been telling you about my daughter's journey with Awaken 180 as she tries to lose a little weight. In fact, last week you heard from Amber herself. Well, let me give you an update. She's been in it just a little over 2 months. Amber has lost 51 pounds. That's a real number. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it happen. She has lost 51 pounds. And here's why. Awaken 180 is not a diet. It's a lifestyle change that is sustainable. And she has figured that out. She loves the journey. She loves the new recipes. She loves that she fits into her old clothes and she sleeps better and has more energy. And it is really, really working. She's proud, and man, am I proud of her. If you want to start your transformation, you can do the same thing. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. My daughter's lost 50 pounds, and she's so excited about it. You can as well. 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. We haul construction debris or property cleanouts for managers, owners, and realtors. We do it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Florida heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ. KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJax.com. KOElectricJax.com.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, and maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Helmets and Heels is returning to Vegas. If you're heading out for the big game, join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for a Halloween weekend football getaway, featuring Circa room discounts and a huddle up for everyone in the teal and black. Meet Helmets and Heels Friday night, October 31st, then hit the Circa Stadium Swim with temperature-controlled pools and a massive betting screen. For Circa room discounts and more information, visit the 1010XL webpage or circalasvegas.com/huddleup-up.
After our son's shoulder issues were worsening, we took him to see Dr. Snyder at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, who recommended PRP treatment. We trusted Dr. Snyder's evaluation and look forward to seeing him pitch again. For the right care, the best care, we highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you here at headquarters in Jacksonville, FLA. But our guy Tom McManus, former Jaguars linebacker, normally our co-host, is up in Massachusetts, making his way back to Florida as he joins us now. Tom, thanks so much for hopping on.
Hey, guys. How's it going, man? Happy Tuesday to you.
Well, I think your weather is slightly better than ours. It has been raining here all day, but hopefully much better weather for you as you chatted with the Boston College football team.
I did. It's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts, and I was down in Cape Cod this morning, drove up today, hooked up with my old teammate Rob DeFranco and my pal Kenny Lake and my attorney, and we spoke to the team. It was absolutely incredible. Bill O'Brien, one of my favorite people. And listen, they took a loss last week to Michigan State, but they're feeling pretty good. They got to go out to Stanford, which I'm like, ew, you got to travel all the way out there just to play football. But that's what they're doing this weekend. So it was great to be back. You know, I got to walk through, went to the weight room, of course, saw the coaches, talked to the players. We sat down for a little bit and had a little lunch. Just a great time. Great to be back on campus. That campus is. I mean, no wonder it's $82,000 a year to go to Boston College, man. It's unbelievable how pretty that campus. Yeah, it's $82,000 a year to go to Boston College today, and it is packed. It's absolutely insane, but it looks great. Beautiful campus.
Tommy, did you talk to anybody up there like a Bill O'Brien about what Tommy Castellanos has started his season looking like?
Isn't it funny you mentioned that? So I mentioned that in my speech, and I said, you know what we aren't here at BC? A bunch of quitters. And that'll never happen. They all laughed. They thought it was funny. But yeah, of course I brought that up. I had to. But yeah, no. Listen, they're feeling pretty good. They feel bad. They really felt like they should have beaten Michigan State last weekend. But hey, they're 1-1. They went toe to toe with them. Not the greatest team in the world, of course. But you know, we'll see how the season goes and see if they can compete in the ACC. They got some good players. They really do. It's funny. One kid came up. He's like, hey, Mr. McManus, I'm Charlie Brennan's son, and Charlie was our free safety, my class. So it was great seeing the kin of former teammates and friends that are at Boston College. But yeah, I had to bring them up, Taylor, of course, and they all got a good kick out of it, so it was good.
All right, I don't know what your takeaways are about, but certainly my guess has something to do with Tank Bigsby. But RJ, hit it.
Now,
okay, it's go time.
Tommy's Takeaways. Jacked up by J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We are here for you. Veteran owned and operated.
Well, you must have been reading my mind, Lauren Brooks, because it is based on Tank Bigsby, but more towards James Gladstone. So how do you get 2 picks for Tank Bigsby when he's not going to be your starter? They got Shipley as a backup. Maybe a return man. But just another good move by James Gladstone. I saw all the picks for 2026. I think we're at 13 now. We still need a first rounder, but we may just have enough ammo to get up into that first round. But we'll worry about that next year. Just kudos to James Gladstone. Look, you know, there had to be an odd man out. We knew that was coming eventually. I know they said we're keeping 4. You can't always believe what they say, and they can't always tell us everything either. So no big deal there. But the way ETN run, the way you saw LaQuint Allen in the lineup early, Tootin being used later in the game, you could see the writing on the wall. And great job for getting 2 picks. So my takeaway today is hats off to James Gladstone, the general manager, for getting 2 picks for Tank Bigsby. I think it's fantastic. And we move forward with our group and look ahead to the Cincinnati Bengals. And that is my takeaway today, brought to you by our good friends at J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Tommy, if you were to guess, would you say that this has been maybe something that has already been in conversations for a little bit, or do you think that some recent things, I know we were reading a tweet earlier that Tank Bigsby retweeted about him pretty much not getting the ball much on Sunday, and then Logs mentioned that he saw him leaving towards the locker room while the rest of the team was kind of celebrating the win still, and I feel like we talk about the culture here and what James Gladstone wants, and I feel like maybe there's something there in that and some of those things.
Good luck getting touches in Philly.
Yeah.
He might be walking in the locker room a lot after games by himself. I don't know. Yeah. Listen, a good GM always has these conversations around the league, building these relationships. And then when something does happen like that, you go to those people that you have relationships, say, hey, what do you think about Tank Bigsby? And, of course, they get a deal done with Howie Roseman up there in Philly. But, yeah, listen, and for the record, I don't blame Tank. I'd be ticked off, too. All camp, I was basically sharing carries. Look, Etienne had the hot hand. There's no doubt about that. But Tank not getting any touches, that would bother me, too. I get it. But at the end of the day, they went with who they went with, and they got a couple picks out of him. We wish Tank well, man. Listen, he was a good Jaguar for a short period of time. And, as long as we're not playing Philadelphia, we wish him all the best.
Tom, we just played a cut from Robert Hainsey, obviously Jaguars center and one of the vocal leaders for this offense. Would you say that the offensive line was the biggest pleasant surprise for you? Because obviously there's a lot of different ways to go with it. The defensive takeaways, rushing, for 200 yards as a team. But what would you say?
I would say that's probably the most intense offensive line I've seen for this team in a while, to be honest with you. I thought they came off the ball. They were gritty. They were physical. And, they opened up the door for running lanes. They kept their quarterback clean, only one quarterback hit. I'm not really surprised about anything anymore, you know what I mean? Because practice is practice and games are games, and it feels like every time we think we see something in practice, it's going to correlate over to the game. Sometimes it does. A lot of times it doesn't. But, look, I think the O-line, Walker Little played great. I thought the entire O-line overall played really well. And you got to keep that QB clean. And look, for a question mark going into the season, that was a really good, outing the first time out. So, maybe a little surprised, Lauren. But at the same time, man, they're doing their job. And I got to go to Liam Cohen. He's got them in the right mindset. You know what I mean? He's got them in the right frame of mind. This is all about earning it. This is all about accountability. It's all about going out there and doing your job the right way. And I tell you, the O-line definitely did that.
Well, and especially, too, because Anton Harrison did go out with the back spasms, and Chuma Edoga came in, and you didn't even notice a drop-off whatsoever. So that also, I feel like, was good news.
Yeah, we like Edoga. We have since he came to Jacksonville. He was very promising in camp, pretty physical player, can play guard, can play tackle. Listen, that's one thing you got to give credit to the Jags. They were telling us, listen, we got a lot of linemen that can play different positions, and it showed on Sunday when Chuma had to go in for Anton. Man, those back spasms, that's like kind of like a thing going around the league. My back hurts. But hopefully he gets healthy and gets back out there. But, yeah, Chuma Edoga, he held the fort down perfectly.
Tommy, from the player perspective, you being in that locker room and you come out, you win week 1 against the Panthers, who, a lot of people are going to say, okay, it's the Panthers, and now you're going on to the Bengals, who also had a kind of week 1. What is your mindset as the player, just kind of moving on to that next game, but kind of taking on the momentum of the win too?
Confidence, a ton of confidence. Just ask Andrew Wingard. He'll tell you how good they are. And I don't have a problem with that because he played really well. And let's be honest here, if the interception doesn't get called back, we're 33-10? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good drubbing, for a team that may not be that good. Like I said yesterday, every team's got good players. But as a team, they're not that good, but we handled them the way we were supposed to handle them. So I would have a ton of confidence going to Cincinnati. I think we can beat them. I think we can go toe-to-toe with them. Obviously, our D-line's got to step up a little bit more. They did fine last week, but I want to see a little bit better job by them. But overall, yeah, man, I'd have a ton of confidence going into week 2, and so would my teammates.
Do you have confidence in your flight patterns to get home without any delays today?
Well, I do have direct, Lauren, and we know how we all feel about that. But I hear with the weather, I'm just praying that it's not too I don't do good in turbulence. I really don't like it, to be honest with you.
Nobody likes it.
So hopefully there's not too much on the way home. But should get out of here, no problem. It's a beautiful day here in Boston. Nice and sunny, about 68, 70 degrees, something around there. And it's been raining up here like crazy, too. So they got a little reprieve as of late. So should be good. And I can't wait to get home, man. There's nothing like going out for a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing like coming home to Jayville, man. And not just missing my family, but just being back on the First Coast and our Jags getting ready to rock and roll and back in the saddle and all that. So I will look forward to my travels home and back to the family and back to Jayville.
Well, have a safe flight, and certainly we will see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, so much. Go Jags.
Thank you,
Go Jags. Bye, Tom.
All right, there he goes. Like I said, he'll be back in studio with us tomorrow, and hopefully that weather does not disrupt anything as far as here in Jacksonville, FLA. All right, down the other side, Taylor Dahl has a tangent. It's 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
For high school football play-by-play, it's 1010XL.
The Bulldogs look for a big bounce-back game against the undefeated Crusaders. Bulls Bishop Kenny, Friday at 7 on 1010XL.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Helmets and heels. Bought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 9, 2018, Chris Boswell misses a field goal in overtime as the Steelers tie the Browns 21-21, ending the Browns' 17-game losing streak.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in at a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. So start now by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
I'm Chris Campione. Veterans have given so much in the service of our country, but when it comes to legal challenges, you shouldn't have to fight alone. At Campione Law, we're here to help veterans like you get the support and compensation you deserve. Whether it's a workplace injury, a personal injury claim, or navigating a veteran's disability claim, we'll stand by your side every step of the way. Your service to our country matters. Let us serve you with the dedication and respect you deserve. Call Campione Law for a free consultation today. Campione Law, fighting for veterans, fighting for justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Campione Law.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. In summertime, it really can stretch out most of the year because we love the warm temperatures here in the Sunshine State. Greg, give them an idea of what Honda has to offer.
They are all over the board. They've got Honda scooters, Honda motorcycles, we've got Honda boats, we've got Honda side-by-sides. Whatever you like, we've got it.
That means adventure is waiting.
That's right, and we're ready for you.
In the showroom, you can find all that Honda has to offer on Atlantic near Regency, or check out Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Football season is here, and the Hills Grill at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy our tailgate menus and drink specials every Saturday and Sunday. Join us after your round and cheer on your favorite team. That's Hidden Hills Golf Club, Monument Road.
Julington Creek Pest Control has been serving our community since 1984. Our turf management program is an all-out blitz, granular fertilization, weed and insect control, keeping your lawn championship green all year. Quarterly Pest Control stops bugs before they ever cross your goal line. Family-owned, locally operated, expert technicians, top quality products, no gimmicks, just winning results. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Julington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
For joining us. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you as we enjoy a little Morgan Wallen and Ernest. I saw something on Instagram. I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw one of the country places put out that Morgan Wallen and Ernest will be doing a gospel album together. I would love that if that's what they come up with. I know a lot of country singers have backgrounds in church singing.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like gospel songs are really hard to sing, so it would be interesting to try and hear them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would do a good job. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's true. Yeah. If that's not, don't blame me. Don't read or don't
People
believe
will
everything
probably
you
be
read
like,
on the
Morgan
internet.
Wallen needs a little bit of that.
Needs a little gospel in his life. Certainly once upon a time, that's for sure. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So I was looking, Florio does his power rankings every week, Pro Football Talk, and it's always, I don't love his rankings most of the time anyways. I think there's the obvious ones that you can always agree on when you're talking about maybe like the top 6, 7, but I do always think that sometimes the movement, I don't know if he doesn't want to move people too drastically over one week, but I think that if you are doing a weekly, this is just yourself. It's not like it's the AP poll in college football. This is just for you saying this is the team through, 1 week, what this looks like. So to me, if a team drastically from week 1 to 2, for example, looks okay week 1, but then has a really good week 2, then I feel like and opponent wise, you want to talk about who they're playing and things like that. But there's a few things that stood out. They have Philly as the best team still. That didn't change. They have Philly, Bills, Packers, Ravens, Commanders, Chargers, Chiefs. So I think for you kind of say, okay, the Packers I think are interesting just because I don't know. But again, this is maybe in a couple weeks if the Lions continue to not play well, that win doesn't look as good for them. But then if this week the Lions crush the Bears, then maybe that is like, okay, it was just the Packers are that good. So we'll see. But the biggest jump from his off-season poll to his power rankings to the week 1 after week 1 is the Chargers. The Chargers went up 9 spots this last week, and so they're ranked 6th now. The Chiefs went down 5 spots after their loss. And then certain teams, the Bucs, the Broncos, they still stay at 8, 9. The Lions dropped down 6 spots. The Texans dropped down 3 spots. The Niners dropped down 2 spots. You have teams, the Colts actually went up 6 spots after their win, and
they should.
Yeah, then that's what we talk about. If you're judging it off of 1 week, that makes sense to me.
Right. I think that power rankings in the NFL are a bit silly because we have the standings. Just like in Major League Baseball, I've always thought that was a bit silly too. Yeah. But just like with college football, I think you have to wait around a month, and really in the NFL, maybe more like 6 weeks to really determine who's good and who's not good. We just talked about the 2017 Jaguars. I'll never forget. After the first 6 weeks, the team was 3-3. Mm-hmm. You have no idea if they were going to be a playoff team at that point in time or not. Around these parts right now, we'd take 3-3. Yeah. Although some people are starting to have more, optimistic expectations. But yeah, I really feel like you have to have the Chiefs ahead of the Chargers because they beat them head to head.
Yeah.
Are the Chiefs a better football team potentially for the playoffs? Probably, because they have more experience there, or more success there, I should say. But at the end of the day, look, we know who the best teams in the NFL are roster-wise. It's a team like the Eagles, like we've talked about the Ravens. Yes, the Ravens just lost to the Bills. The Ravens probably have a better roster than the Bills, but the Bills had their number.
Yeah.
So the Bills are obviously one of the best teams. We knew that going in.
Yeah.
The Packers, I think we knew going in, especially once they traded for Micah Parsons, one of the better teams. Like you mentioned, the Lions, I think we all had question marks once Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn left. And can Dan Campbell keep the ship, moving in the exact same direction as without those guys? We'll see. The Commanders picked up right where they left off. They were also playing a terrible opponent in the Giants.
Yeah, and probably one of the worst when you're talking about the teams that are most likely, if you were to take guesses of who the team sitting at the bottom of the barrel at the end of the season, the Giants will be there. The Panthers will be there. The Saints will be there. And so you can usually guess that. You can guess usually like the top 5, 6 and the bottom, what you'd expect 5, 6. Are there surprises every now and then? Yes. I think sometimes injuries and things like that factor into it. But a couple of things, obviously, because here for the Jaguars, they moved up 3 spots. They're 25th now. So but they do have the Panthers as the 4th worst team in the league. And so we're talking about that. They have the Dolphins dead last. The Dolphins dropped 3 spots, and now they're the worst in the NFL, which that one, I don't know if anybody would have said you'd guess them to be the worst team after week 1. And again, it's 1 week of what it looks like, but they looked like the worst team in the NFL.
Especially with the turnovers by Tua Tagovailoa. That's going to kill you every single week. Yeah, 2 of the teams that maybe we had higher would be the Broncos and the Bengals. And again, just based off of week 1. And I know people are going to be like, all right, you've said that 10 times. Yeah. We have to hear ourselves say it, though, so that you don't take just the small
because someone turns it on and they're like, what? They just
Exactly. But those 2 teams, I would say, didn't play as well as I had expected them to play, especially the Bengals going against the Browns. I know the Browns have a talented defensive front, but they're a mess. In general, especially offensively. And then the Titans have a rookie quarterback who looked poised at times, but overall that's a terrible team. And the Broncos kind of only won by 1 score. So, those were 2 that I would say were a little bit unexpected. By the way, Nate Davis, who writes for USA Today Sports, his power rankings have the Jaguars up 2 spots from 20th to 18th.
Nice.
Yeah. So all over
Very
the place.
different,
And again, it is just 1 week.
Yeah. And you were talking about the Browns, which is funny too, because they have the Browns as the 5th worst team.
Okay.
So that is when you're talking about to weigh that what you actually feel like the team to me, when you're looking at this, the only way you can really kind of gauge it, and you almost have to just go week. Like, this is my power rankings for week 1. This is my week 2.
Not my projection.
Yeah, not my who I think is the best or worst teams. Because if you're saying if someone comes in and you are beating one of those top teams, like let's say this next week, I don't know the schedule, but hypothetically, if the Jets were playing the Ravens coming up and the Jets beat the Ravens, how much do you move them up for 1 week? Or are you just saying, the Ravens had a bad week? What does that look like? So I don't know. The power rankings are crazy, but it was just interesting because I do think that I don't think they moved the Jags up enough on this, and I know it's the Panthers, and like I said, is the 4th worst team in these power rankings, but I still think what some of the teams ahead of them, I don't think the Patriots look super good. I don't think Drake May looked really good, and they have them ranked above them. They have the Raiders ranked above them. They have 8 teams that lost week 1 ahead of the Jaguars still, of teams that are still, I think, also questionable. Some of them are good, like the Chiefs, for example. Like some of those teams, you're going to say, yes, we know they're good football teams. You're just going to lose every now and then. But there's some that I think are questionable, like the Texans, and they have the Texans at 13th still. So it's a little madness, but it stuck out to me a little bit.
Well, we have some lunch to give away.
We do. Free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 2. You get free lunch to Chick-fil-A.
We will keep the NFL conversation going on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Get national insight from a local legend.
I know exactly who this man is.
Mike Duraco.
And we get his insight every Thursday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Bringing by Lee and Kate's Glass on 1010XL.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Helmets and Heels.
Backed by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Jacksonville,
It's football season, and Duck Duck Rooter is proud to be on your home team. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, we tackle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning problems with championship-level service. Keep an eye out for our custom Jaguar wrap plumbing vans rolling around town. They're hard to miss and always ready for the next play at your home or business. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, trust Duck Duck Rooter to keep you in the game. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,600 5-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They're coming later this week to take our closets to the next level, and we cannot wait. The process was so easy. They create custom storage solutions for every space, style, lifestyle, and budget, from closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization, so call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off, plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until September 30th. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
After the lights go down on Friday night, 1010XL flips the switch.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, Friday Night Lights.
With Hacker and Dylan Denmark. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Introducing the Jags Stack at Firehouse Subs. A sub so bold, we had to name it after the team that roars. Packed with protein and made to satisfy a football-sized appetite. It's stacked with honey ham, smoked turkey, and roast beef. Topped with provolone fresh veggies and our new Duval drizzle. Order the new Jags Stack in the app right now. Available for limited time at participating Jacksonville Firehouse Subs restaurants. The hottest subs in
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to American-Electrical.com and see how they can help you.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, how does a diamond or piece of jewelry have its price authenticated by an independent appraisal?
Frank, simply put, there's a difference between a selling price and an appraisal value. In the estate and auction business, you almost always see a new replacement price put on an old used piece. But when you have a new piece with a higher replacement price, you have to wonder why somebody would sell you something for a lot less than it's worth, unless maybe it's not worth what they said. Let me tell you a story about what happened at Underwoods the other day. We were putting into stock a 1-carat diamond that had an EGL report on it. When we opened the report, we found a separate appraisal for the diamond by the Universal Gemological Services, which, by the way, is owned by that laboratory. They appraised the diamond loose for $7,230, which we found interesting because the diamond was in our stock at $5,100. I can honestly say that that diamond wouldn't sell anywhere for $7,230, so that type of appraisal is worthless.
That's Underwoods, where they make it a point to know the truth about diamonds and jewelry at San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
David here with Royal Pest Services. It's back. Our summer Centricon Termite Special. New installs begin as low as $249. And if you have existing Centricon, but your renewal is through the roof, we can transfer you to Royal at no cost. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us, and with that comes cooler weather. If you've been wanting to upgrade your outdoor living space, you should call the experts at Lifetime Enclosures now. From glass lanais to screened-in enclosures, Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring is the best in the business, so give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. Sophomore edge rusher for the Florida Gators, LJ McCray, has reportedly suffered a broken foot in last Saturday's game against USF and will require surgery for the injury. Head coach Billy Napier says that McCray will miss a chunk of time. The Gators' Week 4 matchup at number 5 Miami will be a night kickoff at 7 on ABC or 7:30 on ESPN. It's 76 degrees at 3 o'clock time in Temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Things I love. Chris Stapleton and Firehouse Subs.
I love Firehouse Subs.
I've been eating Firehouse Subs now. So whatever year they started, I've definitely been enjoying their subs for that long. I want to say, I know I was in college and I would come back from Gainesville to Jacksonville, and there were only a few Firehouse, maybe only the one in San Marco, and I would drive back and enjoy Firehouse Subs. You and I both love their pickles.
1994.
Okay, so I would have
October 10th, 1994.
Yeah, before I started in college. But I want to say they only had a couple locations even back then. But yeah, I absolutely love Firehouse. And right now, limited time only, the Jags stack is available. It has honey ham, smoked turkey, roast beef, provolone, veggies, and the new Duval drizzle sauce. They also brought us a dessert bundle, which everybody around here loves. Chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal cookies, celebration sugar cookies, which right now we are all celebrating, continuing the Victory Monday, and brownies as well. But
yes.
Their subs are fantastic.
They're so good.
Whether you like cold subs, hot subs, does not matter. White, wheat, they've got it all. I absolutely love Firehouse.
I haven't had a bite yet. You did. What is the sauce like? How would you explain it?
I would say it's like a mayonnaise and like a honey mustard mixed.
Okay.
I'd have to find the exact. I haven't read
but it's more creamy?
Is, but I would say it's a very creamy sauce. I'll have to actually find the exact sauce ingredients and see if I'm right, because I don't have that information in front of me. But I will find out, Taylor Doll, and then I will tell you.
Yes, and then I will also try one on this next break and let you guys know how it is.
All I know is it's delicious. They always, the other thing I'll give Firehouse Subs to, some places you don't necessarily get enough meat on your sub.
They load up the
or
meat.
Or you have to ask for like double meat or something like that. Definitely not Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, other sub places, they'll be like, here's 4 little thin slices. And I'm like, that is not enough. The bread to meat ratio needs to be a little better, and Firehouse has perfected that.
Absolutely. All right, so it is a unique blend of mayonnaise, pickle juice, so you're going to love it, and Firehouse garlic and herb seasoning. I don't know where I got the honey mustard part from. Maybe that's with the honey ham, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's where I got that sweetness. But yeah, a blend of mayo, pickle juice. I just assumed it was pickles on the sub, but pickle juice plus Firehouse garlic and herb seasoning. It's absolutely delicious. And I feel like everyone who's from Jacksonville knows about Firehouse Subs. If you're new to town and you have not yet been, definitely go. They've got locations all over, and we love them.
We do love them very much. Thank you, Firehouse, because I feel like they've supplied a lot of lunches for us recently, and I really appreciate them.
You got that right. They're also doing field goals for Firehouse. Every time the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or farther, you can do a buy one, get one medium sub. So buy a medium sub.
We got the right kicker in town for that.
That's right. I wonder if they knew all about Cam Little. No,
they might have needed to do 60 yards.
Maybe they'll reevaluate for next year. But yeah, you can do that through the Firehouse Subs app or online for 4 days following the game. That was not in the notes that I was given about Firehouse, so I hope that they wanted us to promote that. No, I'm just kidding. They do that at the stadium. But yeah, head to Firehouse, get the Jag stack for a limited time only. All right, time now for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane, driven by Mazda at the Avenues. This is luxury. This is Mazda at the Avenues.
I told you we'd keep the NFL conversation going. This stat to me, Taylor, is a clear picture of why one organization has been very successful over the last 10 years and another organization has not. You'll know what I mean when I tell you the Chiefs could start 0-2 for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. Since he took over starting at quarterback in 2018, they have not been 0-2. And of course, the reason that comes up, the Chiefs have already lost to the Chargers, and the Chiefs play host to the Eagles this week. A massive game on Sunday. Mahomes has been, since he became the starter, like I said, in 2018, he's been, and the Chiefs have been 2-0 5 times. So, yeah.
That's fun.
Must be nice, right? The last time the Chiefs started 0-2 was 2014.
Wow.
And then let's compare that to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The last time the Jaguars started 2-0 was 2018. A lot of people remember that because we thought the trajectory was
We're like,
was
here we go,
pointed up.
rolling straight from last year.
Yep,
Everything's straight.
I definitely predicted ahead of the 2018
You beat the Patriots.
season.
You're like, yes, everything's perfect.
Yep, I definitely predicted ahead of that 2018 season that the Jaguars would go 13-3 because that's when it was still a 16-game schedule and win the Super Bowl, or at least make it to the Super Bowl. That was wrong. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars have only started 2-0 7 times ever in the franchise's history. So again, Mahomes took over in 2018 as the full-time starting quarterback. He's been 2-0 5 times. They've been 2-0 5 different times.
Yeah.
The Jaguars have done it 7 times ever in the 30-plus year history.
Yeah, that's insane. And I think a lot of people will immediately go to it's Patrick Mahomes and how much is that strictly just Mahomes being Mahomes, but people forget how functional they were before Patrick Mahomes even got there with like an Alex Smith, for example. And so I want to say they won 12 games the year before Mahomes took over. So it already was a functional organization. And then, add on a generational quarterback and that adds up to a pretty consistent future for you. But that would be crazy. And we were going over this because when we were talking about, I did one of my tangents on the Rashee Rice, and he was trying to appeal, and they were going to do it at the end of September, whatever that was. And then I was like, oh, how convenient, because the beginning of their schedule looks like this. That's why they want to push that until they get to that little lull of the easier part of their schedule. But yeah, they have a difficult one to start. And I do think that a lot of people are starting to have not like, oh, Patrick Mahomes sucks at football, but are they on kind of the other side of things right now? And the moment we say that, Mahomes will have some game where he throws for like 500 yards and multiple touchdowns, and that's just what it will end up being. But it does, we go back to the Super Bowl and how Philly handled them so aggressively at the line of scrimmage. And I feel like people at least have been like, okay, there's a way to beat Patrick Mahomes, and this is how you do it. Is that easy? No, but it's a possibility.
And I think he played well in the loss to the Chargers.
Yeah.
But certainly the rest of the team, I feel like, let him down. So the Chiefs, to your point, in the first year he started, they went 12-4. The year before, they were 10-6.
Okay.
The year before that, they were 12-4. And the year before that, they were 11-5.
Yeah.
So yes, he came into a great situation with an organization that has stability and knows the right moves to make. Should they have kept Tyreek Hill from the here, or looking at it from here? Yes, they've won Super Bowls since. But I feel like, yes, like I feel like because they've had a lot of issues at receiver and injuries and things like that, like Tyreek Hill on this team, plus Travis Kelce, especially before he got slow last year, like they might have won another Super Bowl. I'm not saying they would have beaten the Eagles, but certainly I feel like he would have been a great help for them because they haven't been able to find that number one wide receiver that terrifies the rest of the league. And I feel like other teams that they're vying against have that. I mean, the Chargers now have really good weapons.
Yeah. And that's what I think that the unfortunate part for them has been more so injuries, because you do with the Rashee Rice last year, you lose him very early in the season. A lot of people were expecting him to be that number one, and he's shown glimpses that he can be a really good wide receiver. And then this year, you're already dealing with a suspension from him, and then Travis Kelce takes out Xavier Worthy in a play. So I think more so it's just they've gotten unlucky when it comes to the injury side of things. Tyreek's a bit of drama, and I don't know how much they totally missed that. Not saying Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill, and we know what he's capable of, but I don't know if they're totally regretting that. I think it more so is like they've been on the bad luck side of the health when it comes to their pass catchers.
Speaking of health, I want to get into what's going on with the 49ers. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Fall football keeps college campuses buzzing.
I'm RJ Saunders, and I'll help you slide into a college football Saturday with pregame news and notes.
On the Bueller Air and Plumbing College Kickoff.
Served up by Sonny's Barbecue.
Friday night at 6 on 1010XL.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through September 30th. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 125-8484.
UniversalRoof.com. Helmets and Heels from the Greenlaw Group Studios.
Attention ladies. The Ladies Florida State Championship is returning to Best Bet Jacksonville from September 18th to the 21st. Highlights include a World Poker Tour Mega Satellite, a free Q&A session with the Poker Hall of Famer and First Lady of Poker, Linda Johnson, and Women's Poker Hall of Famer, Jan Fisher. It includes the $300 No Limit Hold'em Ladies Championship Tournament and the $200 Kings and Queens No Limit Hold'em event. Don't miss this action-packed weekend. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
If you have cane fever, you'll get your weekly dose of Miami football on the Hurricane Report.
I'm JJ LaSelva. This season, I'll keep you close to Coral Gables with the Hurricane Report on 1010XL.
Proudly protected by Performance Painting.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Jeff Lagerman for Napa Auto Care Centers. This football season, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or travel to the away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any one of the 29 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions. Napa Auto Care Centers offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace of mind warranty on most repairs. Find one near you at jacksnapaautocare.group.com.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I've been telling you about my daughter's journey with the Awaken 180 as she tries to lose a little weight. In fact, last week you heard from Amber herself. Well, let me give you an update. She's been in it just a little over 2 months. Amber has lost 51 pounds. That's a real number. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it happen. She has lost 51 pounds. And here's why. Awaken 180 is not a diet. It's a lifestyle change that is sustainable, and she has figured that out. She loves the journey. She loves the new recipes. She loves that she fits into her old clothes and she sleeps better and has more energy, and it is really, really working. She's proud, and man, am I proud of her. If you want to start your transformation, you can do the same thing. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. My daughter's lost 50 pounds, and she's so excited about it. You can as well. 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee. Man, it's incredible. Just an hour north of Jacksonville and Folkston. I was so impressed. It's about connecting with nature, with food, with community. And now you can own your very own handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm. Everything you need is there. You'll hardly need to go grocery shopping. Learn more about all of it at okefarm.com. That's OKEfarm.com, the farm at Okefenokee.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
We just trying to catch a good time, even if it takes all night.
Well, the 49ers right now are not necessarily having a good time. One Taylor Dahl, Brock Purdy is dealing with toe and shoulder injuries. I read that his toe injury is worse than his shoulder. His status for the Week 2 game against the Saints is uncertain. Of course, we know the backup is Mac Jones. I would like to think that the 49ers can beat the Saints, even if Mac Jones is the quarterback.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know how many reps he got with the first team. Obviously not there at practice in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And typically when you have a QB1 that is your franchise quarterback, which Brock Purdy is, you're not going to have the backup QB get that many reps with the first teamers. So interesting storyline to watch there. And then the 49ers did place tight end George Kittle on injured reserve. We knew he had a hamstring injury that he suffered in their win against the Seahawks. We weren't sure exactly how long he'll be out, but he is going to be out at least 4 weeks. I read that he'll most likely return October 12th against the Bucs.
Okay.
But of course, the Jaguars play the 49ers later this month in week 4. They will not have to face George Kittle.
Yeah, I wonder if the Niners are like, we can get through this stretch without George Kittle is maybe their mindset, and then get him back for when you have the Bucs and maybe some of the teams that they're more worried about. But they're hurting right now. It's been a lot of injuries, and this goes back to last year. Last year, obviously, they had a lot when it comes to their receivers. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey too. Christian McCaffrey already dealing with stuff. With Dwan Jennings, we've talked about, is dealing with stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like his shoulder isn't as bad, Dwan Jennings. So he should hopefully be able to play.
We were talking about that. Was it yesterday? We were talking. Is a sprain? Was his the sprain we were talking about?
His shoulder.
Or the popped out, was out of...
No, that's Xavier Worthy with the dislocated shoulder. Yeah, this one, is the MRI came back clean, so it seems like Dwan Jennings should be okay.
Yeah, those are when things start to get frustrating, though, because you're just like, okay, why can't we catch a break? And when it comes to injuries, and we've dealt with honestly, the Jags the last couple years have kind of been like that, where it's like Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Trevor Lawrence. It's like as soon as one person gets injured, it feels like they all start to kind of pile on, which is really unfortunate. And I feel like
too. Brandon Ayuk's still hurt.
Yeah, and I think we've had that conversation about the Niners too. I do think there's still people out there that question what level Brock Purdy is actually on. Like, that's one of the quarterbacks that I think we do still have that what tier. Trevor Lawrence is in that conversation too. There's drastic different opinions on where he lies in those quarterback rankings. Brock,
yeah, certain
and
ones
Trevor
are very polarizing.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
why. I know
they are, but they are.
But I feel like when you see what he went through last year, and I know the Niners, when you lose Christian McCaffrey, the way that they did last year right away, that is an unfortunate thing, because that's the pulse of your offense. So when you lose somebody who was supposed to be the anchor of everything, that really sucks. And then now you're dealing with another banged up McCaffrey, and you're adding on all of these other things. But I do think that is when you really get to see what type of quarterback and how comfortable they are in the offense, and also what Kyle Shanahan can cook up, because you've seen him be able to do it before, but how much can you get past?
Yeah, for sure. I saw this stat and I knew you would love it, and you probably have seen it. In the first week of regular season games since the touchback was moved back to the 35-yard line, teams returned 118 out of 156 kickoffs for a 75.6% return rate.
Love it. Love it. This is what they wanted. I mean, and they said safety
from time to time.
Yeah. They were using things like the safety and for safety reasons and whatever. It always felt like it was just they wanted more returns, and they would sprinkle that in there. Like, oh, we're going to get more play in this. We're going to get more action, but also player safety. I don't believe them when it comes to the player safety because they contradict themselves all the time. I think they wanted to see more people returning the ball. And when you're not getting the ball, when you have to automatically get the ball at the 35, the opposing team gets the ball at the 35, you're going to avoid that most times, especially now with the kickers that can, the field goals guys are making on a regular, not Cairo Santos, but all the other kickers in the league are making 60 plus or at least high 50s pretty easily. And so I do think that it's exciting. That's why they did it. I think it's an important thing. I think it's an important thing for the game, because I do think that the return game was very exciting for so long, and then Hester and all of that stuff happened, and they changed a bunch of things, and they said, again, it was for safety rules, but then it got boring for so long, where it's like that the kickoffs, you're going to the kitchen and making a snack. They want you to sit. You want to watch those. Those are when those moments, and we've had that here with like Jamal Agnew's that have, when you run them back, how exciting those moments are. And so I just think seeing a little more action during that period of time is good for the NFL.
Yeah, I feel like if I were to do your top 10 players of all time, I feel like Devin Hester would be in your top 10.
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
And
it was
not,
also
right
at
on the outside.
It was also like the prime of me really getting, like, I've always loved football, but that's when I really was like understanding and fully like talking to my grandpa and my dad on the game days about everything. And so when you're learning a team in the game, and like those players that stick out during those moments, those are Urlacher, the same thing. Like, those are the players that really stick out in my mind. But he's the explosive players, and those are the ones that are really fun to watch.
So you brought up Monday Night Football. I was not going to do this, but since you brought it up, it was fun to see Caleb Williams enter in an Urlacher jersey last night, and I'm sure that the Bears fans loved that. I did want to bring up this stat. So I saw when it came to the odds, or not a stat, but the odds, for Coach of the Year, Liam Cohen is the new favorite for Coach of the Year. Ben Johnson, after last night, moves to 4th. Again, it's week 1. Let's not get too carried away with ourselves as far as, is Liam Cohen that much better as far as winning Coach of the Year? But I do want to talk about that Monday Night Football game from the perspective of J.J. McCarthy for the half looked
awful.
And really the beginning of the second half, looked like the Vikings had made a terrible mistake in moving on from Sam Darnold. And then all of a sudden that winning gene started to show itself. From the other perspective, though, obviously, it felt like the Bears started to fall apart.
Yeah, I think when it comes to McCarthy, number one, imagine if the Jags were playing without Tyson Campbell, Jordan Lewis, and Foye Oluokun. That's what the Bears were playing out without last night, because there was no Jalen Johnson, no Kyler Gordon. Then Jalen Johnson's backup and Deshaun Wright went out, and they were playing without TJ Edwards. So the defense already, when I saw those players weren't playing, I thought the Vikings would score 35. Before the game, I was like, the Bears are going to have to score 30 plus to even have a chance in this game, because you're missing your best defensive players. And I do think I knew that the Bears are going to rely on their defense, which we've had the same conversations here too early on, just because there is so much newness going on that you want to rely on your defense early in the season while the offense kind of gets things going, because we've also talked a ton about Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson's playbooks being and schemes in general being way more difficult for quarterbacks to grasp anyway, and that may take some time. So that's already been conversation. So I was already kind of expecting this to be a thing where the defense was going to be able to help the offense for a little while, and then you're losing all of those players, and it's unfortunate. I think that caught up. I think by the end, when you're on cornerback number 3 and a backup young linebacker and Noah Sewell, Panea's brother, that started to catch up late in the game. And the big moments when those guys, the playmakers like Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, I think those are their game changers. Penalties killed them. And I think the refs made some terrible calls. I also think the Bears shot themselves in the foot too many times, too. You can't go backwards and when you're about to get into the end zone. But when it comes to McCarthy, I think he just started to settle in, and they also started running the ball very well. Jordan Mason was running all over the defensive line, and we've talked too how important that is, how much it opens for your quarterback. It took a lot of pressure off of him because they were able to run. And Kevin O'Connell, I said this last week, I think they had him, in that article ranked like 6th or something, and I was like, he's a top 3 head coach in the NFL. I truly think he is. I think when you talk about the things he's done with multiple quarterbacks, you can go to Kirk Cousins, you can go to Sam Darnold, and now we see what Sam Darnold looks like without KOC. And then now early on with J.J. McCarthy. And then when injuries have happened and a Josh Dobbs has came in, you haven't seen this drastic fall off of their offense either. Kevin O'Connell's a genius. He's an offensive genius. And then on the other side, you have Brian Flores, who is a guy that blitzes like crazy. He knows how to start making a quarterback's head spin, especially if you can't get the run game going, especially if some of the offensive line maybe aren't having their best days, especially if you're getting a lot of calls going your ways. He knows how to take advantage of those things. And so I do think that I don't think that Ben Johnson also, if you go back and watch the film, I know nobody here probably will, there were guys wide open all over the place. I think Ben Johnson called a very good game. They just didn't execute it in the second half the way that they should have. But I do think that is part of, that's when you talk about the experienced coaches. And now between Flores and KOC, you're talking about 2 coaches who have done this at that level for a long time. And they also have a lot of returning pieces. I know the quarterback's new, but outside of that, it's a large majority of guys that they've been working with the last few years, especially defensively, that just keep getting better. And when you talk about an Andrew Van Ginkel and a Jonathan Grenard, these guys, both of them had double-digit sacks. There's a ton of other guys on that team that had 4, 5, 6 sacks. That's just what they're really good at. So it was frustrating, especially the way it happened, because you felt like you had a lead and things were going so well. You scored a touchdown on the first drive, which didn't happen one time last year. But then I think at the end of the day, the more experienced head coach ended up winning, and he made good decisions down the stretch. Ben Johnson, a lot of people are like, why didn't he onside kick? Why didn't they kick it out of bounds? He thought they'd get it back with 2 minutes and everything would be okay. KOC had the guy return it, so it killed more time off the clock. That is the experience coaching.
Yeah, it was fun to see Kevin O'Connell on the sideline.
Yeah,
tell him to
he's like, run, come out.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know that I've seen that before, which I think is impressive. Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is the Jaguars, obviously, when you're comparing the Jaguars and the Bears, the Jaguars played a team that I think will end up as one of the worst teams in the NFL. And so we didn't really get to see those moments of Liam Cohen put on display, good or bad, as far as coaching his first game at this level, like as the head coach. Would he have made some of those decisions differently if it was a much closer game, right? Like the Jaguars were pretty much blowing the Panthers out, or at least had a comfortable lead throughout the game. There was the one play, the one catch that was ruled incomplete from Brian Thomas Jr. That we wondered maybe why didn't he go ahead and challenge that?
Yeah.
And again, none of us are going to second guess that now. The Jaguars won by 16 points.
But if that was why you lost, then you go back and look at those things.
Yeah, for the Bears and Ben Johnson in their week one going against, like you said, a Vikings team that's talented, and also Kevin O'Connell is one of the best. I don't remember exactly where he was ranked.
I thought it was like 5 or 6, but maybe, I want to say 5 or 6 because I was like, that is too low.
That might have been. I know for sure Andy Reid, I think, was fourth, and I was surprised that he was, or maybe fifth, something like that. But either way, when it comes to one other NFL note I wanted to make, the Titans-Broncos game on Sunday. So Alec Iomanner, who we talked a lot leading into the draft, he played, for people who kind of remember this, Alec Iomanner had just an amazing catch against Travis Hunter when Stanford played Colorado. And so that was one of those viral moments for him. But so he had a 23-yard reception against the Broncos. He plays for the Titans. And he got an elbow down in bounds, but the refs called it incomplete. Well, Brian Callahan was asked after the game, well, why didn't you challenge that? And he said, well, he didn't get 2 feet down. And everyone was like, that's not the rule. The rule is a body part or, 2 feet.
Like a knee, elbow,
correct,
or your 2 feet.
Exactly. And so basically to expose the fact that he didn't know the rule. Then yesterday he had to say, his exact quote after the game, an elbow doesn't equal 2 feet, so his foot would have had to come down as well. So that's not, like we said, that's not the rule. So then yesterday he had to say, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. I didn't do a good enough job in that moment. I should have challenged it, and it probably would have resulted in a potential explosive play.
Oh, no. That's embarrassing.
That's one of those. And again, we're going to always bring it back to Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
At least week one, Liam Cohen did not have anything close to that. Again, you could have challenged that one, but in the end, it did not matter. It did not affect the game. It was never, again, within... really, I would say it was never within 10 points, like as far as any point in the game being close, or how you felt.
And that's when that's when you'll know more. When you get into one of those games, and maybe that's this weekend against the Bengals, who you do expect they're coming off a game where they didn't look very well. Do they rebound? What does it look like? But it definitely is better when it comes to Trey Hendrickson, when it comes to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Like those alone are better than if you're putting head to head to what the Panthers had. If it is a close game, those decisions made in the close games is what really shines for a lot of the head coaches, or at least takes them to that next level. And when you talk about the decision making of Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay and these guys, and even a Kyle Shanahan you're putting in there, the decision making during the game and the actual coaching side of it, because you can be a phenomenal play caller. That doesn't mean that the coaching side is a little bit different sometimes. The in game situational stuff, that's what takes those guys to a different level. And I don't think you really know. Even after 1 year, I think you get tricked sometimes. We have here of what that looks like. But I do think that after 5-6 games, you start to get a little bit better of an idea. Can they do both? Can they do all three of these things? What are they better at? And so that'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch as you get to some more of the tougher opponents and maybe the closer games, what that looks like, and the in-game situational and just coaching side, what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, the game was tied 3-3 after the first quarter, but it never felt like it was even the Panthers were challenging to win that game. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to XL 92.5 FM.
A great season often depends on keeping your best players on the field.
Let me know if he's ever going to play football again, or do I need to find me another wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville.
Come on, you can't play without me.
On 1010XL.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. It's a sauce kind of football season with Chick-fil-A chicken strips. Each crispy, juicy bite only gets better when you choose your favorite sauces to dip into and create your own flavor combinations. Will it be sriracha and ranch, honey and buffalo, barbecue and Chick-fil-A sauce? With 21 different sauce pairings possible, it's easy to go on a flavor adventure. Order in a 4-count, 10-count, or in a catering tray. Get an order started today in the Chick-fil-A app and dip on into football season.
Helmets and Heels.
Protected by
Green Law Group. For the insured. Fighting for you. Hey, fellow Floridians.
We're the Wombles. We're retirees with 5 grandkids.
And huge fans of natural gas. When the kiddos visit from Ohio, we go through towels like pool water. That's why we love our natural gas dryer. It dries in a jiff.
So we use less energy and save money, too.
Yep.
Now earn up to a $300 cashback rebate when you install a new energy-efficient natural gas dryer. To learn more, go to peoplesgas.com/rebates.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
How do you know that your roof is ready for the next big storm? You don't. That's why you need to call me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We'll assess your roof and fix those issues before they become storm disasters. Visit BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roofing quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
It's the start of our favorite season in Jacksonville, football season. Let's get hyped and let's get the home in tip-top shape and let's get that house zero-resified. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, they'll take care of you. Call the folks at Zero Res right now, 287-5727. Ask for the 1010XL special. Get your 3 rooms of carpet cleaned at $139 plus a 4th room free. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
Beer, water, beer. That's a pretty good game plan when it comes to battling the summer heat. When you hit the beach, fishing hole, or golf course, make sure you hydrate. Anheuser-Busch is always up for a good time. Just remember to drink responsibly.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Jay Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Tuesday afternoon. Tom McManus is traveling back from Boston College. He will rejoin us tomorrow. Taylor, we haven't talked any college football at all today, which maybe that's because when I planned the show, I didn't want to talk about any college football.
Understand.
I mean, I also meant to mention this yesterday. LJ McCray, one of the edge rushers for Florida, out for the season with an injury. And so it's just when it rains, it pours. I know that's a famous song by certainly one Luke Combs, but it is true. He has to undergo foot surgery. And so certainly that we heard a lot of good things about him all offseason, but not going to be able to participate for Florida. For people who think that 9.5, the LSU spread between Florida and LSU in Baton Rouge, people think that Florida can cover that. I'm just a little surprised because it feels like this team is defeated. When DJ Lagway says post-game, I'm sad, I'm mad, like, our locker room's not dealing with this well. That wasn't his exact quote. I know he said I'm sad and mad, but like you just get the vibe that this is a team that fought so hard to preserve their head coach's job last year. And I don't know what happened between the end of last year and this year, but something obviously continues to go incorrectly offensively. You still have special teams blunders. And in the end, you can't stop South Florida as they come down. And look, South Florida is now 18th ranked in the country. I'm not saying South Florida is a bad football team, but Billy Napier, when we talk about shooting yourselves in the foot, that the Jaguars have often talked about not doing, that has happened around here. That's what Billy Napier continues to do.
Yeah, and first, that's something you don't want to hear your quarterback come out and say in that sense. And I know they're going to feel that. It's going to feel like there's moments, especially you're at home. Everybody, you're
sold out for like the 14th straight game.
Yeah, and there was so much hype too coming into this season, and even with Lagway, multiple little injury things coming up during this offseason, it was always like, don't worry, he'll be ready. We're good to go. Everybody was putting him in talks.
That's a lie. He's not good to go. He's okay to play, but not play well. That's for dang sure.
I just wonder if it's more of a shot towards LSU than anything. Maybe people aren't convinced because, Louisiana Tech, you can only put up 23 on. You barely beat Clemson, who then last week could barely beat Troy. So maybe people are starting to say, well, maybe this I think maybe it's more that. Maybe this LSU team isn't. They've barely slid by some teams that maybe they should have dominated.
And
so
La Tech feels like a trap game.
You don't spit in your game.
Sense.
Do you end up winning that? And I know he came out and apologized.
He did. I feel bad for Brandon Bett, especially in today's social media age. Yes, I made he and Billy Napier my pest of the day yesterday, but not in the sense of I wanted to ridicule him, just more like that. Those were your actions. So therefore all actions have consequences. And I expect him to be suspended, even though Napier said yesterday, he's remorseful and we're not sure. Mm-hmm. I just feel like you can't trot a kid out there that, has to. I'm not saying this is his character and nature. That's what he said is not, And he obviously apologized for his family. But I feel like you do have to have at least an in-house suspension for a half or a game in order to just teach him, the lesson that
other people,
and
other people on the team, other players on the team.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard because when they're that young, they're college-age kids that obviously they make mistakes. We all did at that age.
Oh, yeah.
But when it's on display in front of 90,000 and everyone watching on TV too, you do, to your point, you have to make an example out of it. But I feel bad because that people nowadays just crush people that do that. We know going back to Marco Wilson throwing his shoe, although...
that was immediately tweets. Is this one worse than Marco Wilson? And everybody kept talking about that.
Right.
And
you never want to be compared to the guy throwing the shoe and then you lose the fog game. In the fog game, exactly. Yeah, but it is time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day. As always, brought to you by our friends at Terminix. If you have any issues with wasps or ants or mosquitoes or termites, any of those things, Terminix can help you just like they help me at our house, as well as Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. So I love Nate Davis for USA Today Sports. Every week he puts out his 32 things that we learned in the NFL, and I read it every single week. He does a great job documenting everything. However, this was his blurb. I mentioned to you that he has the Jacksonville Jaguars now from 20th up to 18th in his power rankings. So that part is good after the Jaguars beat up on the Carolina Panthers over the weekend. But here's what he has to say about Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is and will be a fine player, but we're going on record now to opine that surrendering a future first and second rounder to get him is a deal that won't age well. Opine just means to complain. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this is way too of all the things that you could say. He played on offense. He played a few snaps on defense, and we're going to see certainly the game plan, as you've said all along, is going to dictate each week. The opponent's going to dictate the game plan for him. How can you already see that that's not going to age well? Shouldn't we make it through at least, I don't know, half the season or the season in general before you go out and make that kind of bold prediction?
Let's start there.
Yeah, Nate Davis, you're my pest of the day today for that.
Yeah, and this is what comes along with being traded up for and drafted very high. That is just, it's going to be what it is when you draft a quarterback, when you draft Trayvon Walker, when you draft Travis Hunter, when you draft whoever. I mean, that's just examples here. You can go league-wide of what that looks like. When you draft somebody in the top 5 of the draft, especially if you trade up for them, there's extra criticism attached to it, or extra people kind of jumping the gun that attached to it, because it's easy. It's an easy thing to go and be like, oh, you traded your first round pick and a second round pick for a player. And we heard Ron Clark say he doesn't think it'd be worth it unless he does play significantly and well on both sides of the ball. That's going to be a conversation for a long time. I don't know how soon you even really have an answer to that, because if Travis Hunter is a playmaker on offense all year and you're happy, let's just say defensively it looks like it did this last week, where it only is 3 or 4 plays and they're not that great, but offensively you look good and he gets more and more comfortable, and at the end of the season you're saying he was really good and he helped this offense and he was one of the best, if not the best, offensive players on the Jaguars. I think that people here will be like, okay, then who cares about the rest at that point? You drafted a good wide receiver. Other good wide receivers will go in the top 5, in the top 10, and you're crediting that team for doing that and making that decision.
But
why wouldn't it be the same?
Second rounder for
and
that.
that's where that comes in.
McMillan ends up being a better receiver than Travis Hunter this year. And again, if he doesn't play significant snaps on both sides, but I think he will. It did feel like to me that the narrative would have been so different if Trevor hits Travis on that one ball or that one pass that goes then for probably a touchdown. Like if that, especially too, and I'm not saying this is Nate Davis, but for people who didn't watch the game, if they're only seeing the highlights or the lowlights, whatever it is, on Twitter, then they're not seeing the fact that, it was one of those things, it was that close, right?
Yeah.
Like either way, even if you did watch the game, yes, it wasn't the performance that maybe some people anticipated.
Yeah, and especially because all offseason, all anybody has done is hype up he's playing both sides of the ball. First player to ever do it. He's a corner, but he can also do wide receiver. Like, that is what everybody's been being fed for months now. So that is what everybody expected to happen. And out of the gates, because when you're drafted that high, people expect that. There's no way after 1 week that you can tell me you can already predict what the future of what Travis, or of what the regret attached to Travis Hunter, or no regret. You can't do that after 1 week. I don't even think you could do it after one season, honestly.
Yeah, and I can understand that. It did feel like to me, and this was watching from the press box, so maybe watching elsewhere, it wasn't this way. I felt like every time Travis got the ball, there was a little extra coming from the Panthers players. Like,
which they said they would. Players around said they would.
Like, one player would tackle him and another player would kind of like jump on late. And so and maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, we'll see if that continues. All right, one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels, backed by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Denny Thompson here. Look, don't get left in the dark. We're all trying to reason with hurricane season, so at least be prepared. For top-of-the-line generators in Jacksonville, I turn to Tyson. Licensed pros at Tyson deliver reliable, whole-home standby generators and provide fast repair service. They even do custom installations for local businesses, so don't wait. Ensure seamless installation and peace of mind. Call Tyson now, 904-762-1000 for a free estimate on generator services. TysonInc.com.
Okay, listen up, team. They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jax, so we gotta play like the experts we are. When customers call with leaky faucets, broken water heaters, toilet repairs, broken pipes, or any other challenge, we'll give them the solution fast. Now, who are we?
Roland Reach Plumbing!
I can't hear you.
Roland Reach Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like. Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjax.com.
Are you ready to ditch your razors for good? Lauren Brooks here. Hello Smooth Med Spa in St. John's is your go-to for laser hair removal that permanently reduces hair growth. With over 10 years in the community, 400 5-star reviews, and the latest technology, their team makes smooth, stubble-free skin so easy. Packages include 9 sessions, and you will see results so fast. Right now, enjoy 50% off laser hair removal packages. Be sure to let them know that Lauren from 1010XL sent you. Visit hellosmooth.com or stop by for your free consultation, and your skin will thank you.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? Do you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. Since 1927, Coyle has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821, CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. Coyle Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When you're faced with damage in your home from water, fire, or mold, you need a team with the expertise to fix it right.
Resto Pros.
A locally owned, nationally backed franchise that's here to help you when you need them. A team that does it right the first time.
Resto Pros.
Remember, you don't have to use the insurance company's preferred contractors. Get it done right by a licensed professional you can trust. Call 904-201-9151 or go to RestoProsNEFlorida.com. That's RestoProsNEFlorida.com.
Resto Pros.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily's Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily's Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily's Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily's Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Chip Davis, director of the Flounder Pounder Fishing Tournament. We are fast approaching our 16th annual tournament benefiting the Jacksonville School for Autism. With the help of our amazing community, we raised over $1.4 million the last 15 years. This year's tournament will be held at Palm Valley Outdoors on the Intercoastal Waterway. Captain's meeting is Thursday night, October 9th, and the tournament is Saturday, October 11th. I'm inviting you and your family to come out and enjoy our tournament festivities, raise some money, and support autism awareness. Special thanks to U.S. Army Recruitment Jacks for their support. Flounder Pounder for Autism 2025. See you there.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Well, Taylor, I have a fun stat for you, care of
Love
Dane
fun stats.
Brugler, who writes The Beast every year and does such a fantastic job covering college football and the NFL. Since the year 2000.
Was Lagway a beast, by the way?
Was he a freak, an athletic freak?
Oh, yeah, the freak.
He was not. I don't think he was a freak this year. Probably because he was injured some last year.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're
you.
good. I don't think he was a freak. That's Bruce Feldman who does the freaks list, but I'm pretty sure Florida only had 2 players.
Okay.
And I don't think either one was DJ Lagway. But since the year 2000, only 2 quarterbacks have accounted for 420 plus total yards, 4 plus total touchdowns, and 70% plus completions in week 1. So over 420 yards, 4 more touchdowns, and over a 70% completion percentage in week 1. 2 players. One did it on Sunday night, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He had 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 72% completion percentage. And if I gave you 10 guesses, I don't think you would get, maybe even 20 guesses, I don't think you'd get the other quarterback. So I'm not going to put you through that exercise. Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he played for Tampa Bay back in 2018, had 453 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 75% completion percentage.
That's insane. Good for him.
Right?
Oh, Fitz. He's one of those guys. He had that energy, and it would always start I feel like he was always you'd see it right away and you're like, all right, here's the Fitz magic. It would just fizzle was the problem. It didn't usually last too long, but it's crazy. And I was looking at some of the numbers from different quarterbacks for week 1 and just the drastic differences of some, hitting the high 300s, low 400s, and then other quarterbacks. Like even here, even with wins, how you can win with under 150 passing yards, how drastically different, how many different ways there are to win games. That's why I hate the passing yard number. I hate so much and sometimes you can relate it to other things and it works. But when everyone's like, well, he had X amount of yards. Okay, if you're not scoring, it doesn't really matter. You still need to score, but you can also win games with 150 passing yards.
We know that quite well. By the way, Jaden Baugh, Jaden Woods, those were the two Florida players on the Freaks list. All right, let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes, let me guess y'all are going to talk about Tank Bigsby, Bashal Tootin, obviously Travis Etienne, and LaQuint Allen today.
Yeah, it's been a hot topic now for a few weeks. Going back to Liam saying, well, one of them's going to be a healthy scratch, and then who's going to be the healthy scratch? Then they all are active, and now Tank gets traded to Philly. So, yeah, it's a win-win. I mean, it's a good deal for the Eagles. I think Tank Bigsby, if something were to happen to Saquon Barkley, he's an outstanding backup. He'd be a good fit for Philadelphia if they had to use him, with Shipley out now with a broken rib. So good deal for the Eagles in terms of keeping their ground game potent with some insurance, and for the Jaguars to get a 5th and 6th for a guy that was, really starting to fade here, and you had a surplus, really works out great. So, boy, that final day of the 2026 draft. Be ready. It is going to be fast.
It's going to be a wild one.
Furious if this continues. I mean, because they've got, how many? 13 picks total, but on the final day, it's got to be 11 of those picks, I think. Something to that. They have their own second and maybe like a couple of thirds. So
they have 2 4s, 2 5s, 1 6, and 4 7s as of right now.
Yeah, so how many in the second and third round?
Just 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and then 1 in the fourth.
So none on day 1, 4 on day 2, and then 9.
And then we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So 9 new Jaguars if it all stays, and who knows? They may add to it.
We were at a wedding this year on day 3 of the draft.
We were.
So we
can't do that.
We cannot go to a wedding.
Not do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll certainly get to that. Jeff Danzler will join Frank to talk Georgia Bulldogs and SEC football. And it should be a lot of fun. We'll certainly talk a lot of Jaguars and get you guys ready for Cincinnati. A lot of interesting storylines with that game. They're down there starting right guard, so that could be big because Cincinnati really didn't look good offensively against Cleveland at all. So lots coming up on the Frangie Show.
Yeah, Georgia, Tennessee, I'm suddenly looking much more forward to it than I am Florida LSU.
Who are you pulling for?
Aguilar.
I guess Tennessee.
That's the thing. I
guess.
But I'm almost at the point where I don't. I mean,
LSU?
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
you just hate watch the whole thing. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're pulling for a sinkhole, but you're pulling for Bane to show up at the stadium and take it over.
But I guess because Georgia's been more successful.
But if Tennessee beats Georgia, then it's like, oh my goodness. Here, you thought the Vols were going to be off, and then they'll be off and right. So there's. From a Florida perspective, there's almost like no good, like somebody's going to get a win between Georgia and Tennessee. It's going to be like, oh, really great. But
Tennessee doesn't have a really difficult road either.
No.
Right now, their most difficult game would be Alabama in October and then against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, we'll see. I mean, yes, John Mateer has looked good. But those are their 2 toughest games remaining on their schedule. So I'd have to look at Georgia's schedule again to see. I don't know who I'm
Georgia's is tough, but a lot of their games this year are in Athens themselves.
True.
But yeah, it should be a great game.
At Auburn.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of conflicting. I guess you got to pull for Tennessee, but it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not.
But
thank you, Hayes.
Thank you, guys.
We will be listening. That'll do it for us today. Tom McManus back tomorrow for RJ Saunders, for Taylor Dahl. I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show.